Please join me in welcoming on stage Dr. Julio Friedmann, one of the most widely known and authoritative experts in the US on carbon removal, currently a senior research scholar at the Center of Global Energy Policy at Columbia University. Thank you very much.
Wow. I'm thinking about 3 years ago when we christened the first plant, and it was just a smaller deal. There were a lot less people here and a lot less tons, and I'm delighted that we are getting the tons and the attention that people have here today. Thank you, Reykjavik Energy, for hosting us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prime Minister Jakobsdóttir, Mayor Eggertsson, of course, President Grimson, and of course, thank you, Jan and Christoph, so much, and your team. I have a hard job. I'm a climate scientist. I wake up every morning thinking about how to deploy clean energy technologies, and to confess, I have good days and bad days. The bottom line, though, is whether I'm optimistic or not kind of doesn't matter. The work looks the same. If I'm in a good mood, if I'm in a bad mood, it doesn't matter. The work looks the same. And we are here today because today's a good day. Today's grounds to be optimistic, for real, because we are witnessing something really unusual. I'm a scientist, trust me on this, it's not every day we see the birth of a new species. That's something for real. This species is named after another species, Orca, which is a feisty little, fierce, loving, black and white whale. Looks kind of like those things. And of course, it means energy in Icelandic. I think that this country is just built for metaphors. President Grimson just laid out a dozen. There's another dozen to go here, folks. But the birth of a new species is something special. I was here when its progenitor came, 50 tons. And in 3 years' time, it was basically a factor of 100 scale up. That's pretty good. To go from 50 to 4,000 in 3 years is pretty good. And we're going to hit another decade. We're going to get another 10 factor to 50,000, and then after that, 500,000, because in the immortal words of Roy Scheider in the movie Jaws, we need a bigger boat. 4,000 tons is pretty good, but we need a whole lot of those to do the job. And I'm looking forward to being here in 2 years or 3 years when there's another one of these species to welcome. We're also here at a critical moment in history, and a lot of the other speakers have mentioned this, but it bears repetition. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has affirmed that large-scale CO2 removal is actually critical climate work, that we cannot get to net zero without it. In short, we haven't been very good stewards of our planet, and we have a mess to clean up, and CO2 removal at an enormous scale is required. It is also at a time where low-cost, low-carbon, abundant energy is a thing. This was not a thing around the world 5 years ago, but it's a thing now. Iceland, of course, was blessed with a whole set of natural resources, but others are getting into the game, and it's mainstream. You don't have to hunt to find solar panels or wind turbines anymore. They are everywhere. In part because of this abundance, in part because of the urgency of the climate crisis, we are seeing governments stepping up. The United States government is at the cusp of enacting important legislation that would create real projects and real funding of enormous scale for direct air capture as part of the climate toolbox, specifically mitigation and climate restoration, and acknowledged as such in President Biden's plans. The United Kingdom has placed direct air capture and CO2 removal at the heart of its 10-part plan. It's one of the planks. They cannot do what they need to do absent that technology. And it's not, I think, coincidental that this will be part of the discussions in Glasgow at COP26. In addition, companies and private citizens are coming forward, and they are committing to net zero. Net zero requires CO2 removal. You can't get net zero without the arithmetic. It just doesn't work. So, among the private citizens, among the companies are the 8,000 pioneers who've helped make this plant possible and have already subscribed to what Climeworks does. Among those, as President Grimson and others have mentioned, is Bill Gates. And out of the 4 things that he is putting $1.5 billion of money into for Catalyst, out of all the 4 things in the world, one of them is direct air capture. and it reflects both the seriousness of the need and the immense commercial opportunity that it represents. And we are here today because we're going to start working. We have an opportunity today to do excellent and righteous work right now. We are going to accelerate the work of a net zero world, and we're going to accelerate the work of climate restoration because we have the tools and we have the money and we have the know-how. We're going to create a new industry. It has to be the size of the oil and gas industry or twice as big as the size of the oil and gas industry, working in reverse. That is a tall order. It's going to require a lot of human beings to do that. It's going to require a lot of capital to do that. It's going to require a lot of facilities. The good news is that we know how to do it, in part because of the brains in this room who have made it possible. We're going to create wealth doing this. This is not all hair, shirt, and eat your peas. We're going to create wealth, and we're going to do it through environmental stewardship. Iceland is going to set the pace for this, but it's going to happen around the world. And in doing so, we're going to redress global inequities. We're going to balance obligations between the global north and the global south. We're going to find opportunities for everybody in the world to take part in this and harness their own resources and their own sensibilities to do so. DAC provides an opportunity. Direct air capture provides an opportunity, first and foremost, for what Mayor Egertsen was just talking about, an opportunity to be generous, an opportunity to build partnerships. Mostly, though, we are here to celebrate a triumph of imagination by two pretty unlikely partners. These two guys here, I think you might have heard of them, Jan and Christoph. They're sort of like Bill and Ted, Romulus and Remus, creating Rome out of nothing. They're a little bit perhaps like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, sort of a strange pair. But ultimately, when push comes to shove, the world is people doing things, and these two people have done a lot. So congratulations, Jan and Christoph, and to the entire team here of Climeworks, of Reykjavik Energy, and everybody. You guys have ushered in a just and verdant future for us all.